Then the whole assembly rose and led him off to Pilate. And they began to accuse him, saying, "We have found this man subverting our nation. He opposes payment of taxes to Caesar and claims to be the Messiah." So Pilate asked Jesus, "Are you the king of the Jews?" "You have said so," Jesus replied. Then Pilate announced to the chief priests and the crowd, "I find no basis for a charge against this man." But they insisted, "He stirs up the people all over Judea. By his teaching he started in Galilee and has come all the way here." On hearing this, Pilate asked if the man was a Galilean. When he learned that Jesus was under Herod's jurisdiction, he sent him to Herod, who was in Jerusalem at that time. When Herod saw Jesus, he was very pleased, because for a long time he had been wanting to see him. From what he had heard about him, he hoped to see him perform a sign or some sort. He plied him with many questions, but Jesus gave him no answer. The chief priest and the teachers of the law were standing there, vehemently accusing him. Then Herod and his soldiers ridiculed and mocked him, dressing him in an elegant robe, and they sent him back to Pilate. That day Herod and Pilate became friends. Before this day they had been enemies. Pilate called the chief priests, the rulers of the people, and said to them, "You brought this man, as one who is inciting the people to rebellion. I have examined him in your presence and have found no basis for your charges against him. Neither has Herod, for he sent him back to us. As you can see, he has done nothing to deserve death. Therefore I will punish him and release him." But the whole crowd shouted, "Away with this man, or release Barabbas to us." Barabbas had been thrown into prison for an insurrection in the city and for murder. Wanted to release Jesus, Pilate appealed to them again, but they kept shouting, "Crucify him, crucify him." For the third time he spoke to them, "Why, what crime has man committed? I have found him no grounds for the death penalty. Therefore I will have him punished and then release him." But with loud shouts they insistently demanded that he be crucified, and their shouts prevailed. So Pilate decided to grant their demand. He released the man who had been thrown into prison for insurrection and murder, the one they asked for, and surrendered Jesus to their will. As the soldier led the way, they seized Simon from Cyrene, who was on his way in from the country, and put the cross on him and made him carry in behind Jesus. A large number of people followed him, including a woman who mourned and wailed for him. Jesus turned and said to them, "Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me. Weep for yourself, for your children, for the time will come when you will say, 'Blessed are the children's women, the wombs that never bore and the breasts that never nursed.' Then they will say to the mountains, 'Fall on us,' and to the hills, 'Cover us.' For if people do these things when the tree is green, what will happen when it is dry?" The two other men, both criminals, were also led out of him, being executed. When they came to the place called the Skull, They crucified him along with the criminals, one on his right, one on the other. And Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. And they divided up his clothes by casting lots. The people stood watching, and the rulers even sneered at him and said, He saved others, let him save himself, if he's the God and Messiah, the chosen one. The soldiers also came up and mocked him. They offered him wine and vinegar and said, If you are the king of the Jews, save yourself. There was a written notice above him which reads, This is the King of Jews. One of the criminals who hung there hurled insults at him. Aren't you the Messiah? Save yourself and save us. But the other criminal rebuked him. Don't you fear God, he said. Since you are on the same sentence, we are punished justly, for we are getting what our deeds deserve. But this man has done nothing wrong. Then he said, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And Jesus answered, Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise. It was now about noon, and the darkness came over the whole land until 3 p.m, for the sun stopped shining, and the curtain of the temple was torn in two. Jesus called out with a loud voice, Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. When he had said that, he breathed his last. The centurion, seeing what had happened, praised God and said, Surely this was a righteous man. When all the people who had gathered to witness this saw what took place, they beat their breasts and went away. But all those who knew him, including the woman who had followed him from the Galilee, stood at a distance watching their things. Now there was a man named Joseph, a member of the council, a good and upright man, who had not consented to their decision and actions. He came from Judea, town of Arimathea, and he himself was waiting for the kingdom of God. Going to Pilate, he asked for Jesus' body. Then he took it down, wrapped it in linen cloth, and placed it in a tomb cut in a rock, one in which no one had been laid. It was the preparation day, and the Sabbath was about to begin. The woman had come with Jesus from Galilee, who followed Joseph and saw the tomb and how the body was laid in it. Then they went home, prepared spices and perfumes, but they rested on Sabbath in obedience to the commandment.